What's this? Looks like someone's hit him very hard on the head. Could they have bludgeoned him to death and then gutted him? That would explain why he didn't scream. Lord above, they did a hell of a job on him. Must have been agony. How come no one heard anything? An inscription in blood. It's a pity I don't know how to read. Looks like they wanted to give someone a warning, but who? And a bandit who knows how to write isn't something you see every day. A bed.
God be with you.
Another thing about Lubosh. Has he been up to anything suspicious lately?
I don't know. The last few days he didn't go anywhere. He was home the whole time. But he always kept everyone in the village at arm's length.
Did he have any kith or kin in the village?
None. A loner he was. I don't know the last time I saw him with anyone.
Do you happen to know where he was on the night of the Neuhof raid?
I've no idea. He kept his distance from other folk, so you never knew if he was away or holed up at home.
I want to learn to read. Who should I go and see?
There's a retired scribe in Ushitz. He could teach you. Where could he have vanished to? He must be here somewhere. Surrender! You've committed a violation. You're under arrest. Surrender! You're under arrest for breaking the law. I'm telling you, surrender! Are you going to give yourself up? Or do you want to do this the hard way? You asked for it! God be with you.
Another thing about Lubosh. Has he been up to anything suspicious lately?
I don't know. The last few days he didn't go anywhere. He was home the whole time. But he always kept everyone in the village at arm's length.
I've come in the name of Sir Hanish of Lipo. I'm investigating the massacre in Neuhof, and now a murder here as well. Can I ask you a few questions?
Ask away.
Have you noticed anything suspicious recently?
The only thing seemed suspicious was how a rogue like him suddenly started going to church. Now I see why, of course.
Who was this Lubosh who was murdered?
He was a drunkard and a beast, and lazy too. Idle hands are the devil's tools.
Do you know what Lubosh was doing the day Neuhof was raided?
What do I care about that scoundrel? I was glad he stayed out of my way.
Do you know who Lubos used to spend time with? Kin or friends?
He was always a loner, except lately he started talking to the parish priest of all people.
That's all. Thank you. I've come in the name of Sir Hanish of Lipa. I'm investigating the massacre in Neuhof, and now a murder here as well. Can I ask you a few questions?
Ask away.
That's all. Thank you.
God bless. Pip.
The blessings of our good Lord be with you, Father. I'm here in the name of Sir Hanish of Lipa, investigating the massacre at Neuhof, which seems to be connected to a murder here. Can I ask you a few questions?
It seems Sir Hanush is employing children as investigators. But ask as you wish, boy. I hope this nasty business will be cleared up quickly.
Did you know Lubos? What was he like?
Bit of a lost soul. Simple, rough fellow, but at heart I don't think he was such a bad person.
Did you notice anything suspicious recently?
My child, all sorts of suspicious things have been going on recently. People like Lubos don't know what to do about it, and sometimes they do stupid things.
That's really not a lot of help to me, Father.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Do you know what Lubos was doing on the day Neuhof was raided?
Unfortunately, I do know. And I'd like to help you with your investigation, but I can't.
What?
I'm bound by certain vows that forbid me to tell you.
Vows more important than catching dangerous murderers?
There are laws of God above the laws of man, son, and one of those is the sanctity of the confessional.
Father, surely you can't be serious. There must be situations in which you can make an exception.
There are things that apply always, no matter what the circumstances, and this is one of them.
For heaven's sake, Father, can you really look me in the eye and tell me that, when you know you may be condemning innocent people to death?
I can. Because if I broke that vow, the consequences would be much worse than if I didn't. Maybe not immediately, but one day. The mills of God grind slowly.
Father, Lubosch was my only lead to the Neuhof raiders. Only he could tell me who was responsible for that massacre. If I don't find out who it was, it will probably happen again. Surely you wouldn't want that.
I wouldn't. But I can't betray the sanctity of the confessional. I'll tell you what. Give me some time and I'll try to think up some way of helping you. Suppose we talk it over in the evening. In the tavern. Over a cup of good wine. Maybe we'll come up with something.
All right. Thank you, Father.
God be with you, good sir.
I've come in the name of Sir Hanush of Lipa. I'm investigating the massacre in Neuhof, and now a murder here as well. Can I ask you a few questions?
Of course. Ask away.
That man Lubosch who was murdered, what was he like?
He was a drunk who was always looking for a fight. Nobody liked him much, but I wouldn't wish an end like that on any man.
Have you noticed anything suspicious recently?
Well, now I think of it, I hadn't seen him around for a while. No idea where he was skulking.
Do you know what Lubosch was doing the day Neuhof was raided?
Not a clue.
Do you know anyone Lubosch used to spend time with? Relatives or friends?
He was a loner. He didn't even have any mates in the tavern.
That's all. Thank you.
My respects to you.
I'd like to learn to read.
You? You don't look like the makings of a priest or clerk. But why not? I've taught all sorts. Bear in mind, it won't be all that easy. You'll need plenty of time and a few groschen for my trouble.
All right. I don't want to waste time. We can get started. The sooner I master it, the better.
Very well. I will require some groschen from you, though, and set aside at least a couple of days so I can put you through your paces, if indeed time is of the essence.
I don't have enough money. I'll come back when I have. I've come in the name of Sir Hanish of Lipa. I'm investigating the massacre in Neuhof, and now a murder here as well. Can I ask you a few questions?
Ask all you want, lad.
Who was this Lubosh who was murdered?
Those that live by the sword die by the sword. I'm not surprised the end he came to.
Have you noticed anything suspicious recently?
Everything about him was suspicious. I always gave him a wide berth.
Do you know what Lubosh was doing the day Neuhof was raided?
How would I know?
Do you know who Lubosh used to spend time with? Kin or friends?
I don't know, since I don't go to alehouses.
That's all. Thank you.
You better put that weapon away or you'll be asking for trouble.
Jesus Christ be praised.
I've come in the name of Sir Hanish of Lipa. I'm investigating the massacre in Neuhof, and now a murder here as well. Can I ask you a few questions?
I don't know nothing about it, but ask all you want.
That man Lubosh who was murdered, what was he like?
I didn't really know him. He kept to himself, even in the tavern.
Do you know what Lubosh was doing the day Neuhof was raided?
I was coming from the tavern very late that night, and I caught a glimpse of someone entering the village. He looked like he was in a hurry. It was only a shadow against the sky, but after what happened, I wouldn't wonder.
Have you noticed anything suspicious recently?
Come to think of it, he was in church yesterday. He was even talking to the priest and went to confession. I was wondering what he was up to take to the faith all of a sudden. But I suppose no sin's too dark for God's mercy.
Do you know anyone Lubosh used to spend time with? Relatives or friends?
Not with anyone from the village. He used to sit in the tavern next to us sometimes, but he never said much.
That's all. Thank you.
Jesus Christ be praised.
I've come in the name of Sir Hanush of Lipa. I'm investigating the massacre in Neuhof, and now a murder here as well. Can I ask you a few questions?
Of course. Ask away.
Do you know what Lubosh was doing the day Neuhof was raided?
Not a clue.
That's all. Thank you.
Good health to you.
I've come in the name of Sir Hanush of Lipa. I'm investigating the massacre in Neuhof, and now a murder here as well. Can I ask you a few questions?
Sir Hanush gives a job like that to a young fellow like you? Well, what do I care? Ask.
That man Lubosh who was murdered, what was he like?
He was a strange one. Always drinking, bad-tempered. Lord knows how he made a living. Well, maybe now I've got an idea or two.
Have you noticed anything suspicious recently?
I didn't see much of him lately. Not even in the tavern. Not till yesterday in church, as it happens.
Do you know what Lubosh was doing the day Neuhof was raided?
I don't think he was home at all. Wait! Are you saying he... Jesus!
Do you know anyone Lubosh used to spend time with? Relatives or friends?
I really don't know. As far as I know, he had no kin. I never saw him with anyone.
That's all. Thank you.
I'd be with you.
I've only got 2 hands. I'll bring it right away.
I've come in the name of Sir Hanush of Lipa. I'm investigating the massacre in Neuhof, and now a murder here as well. Can I ask you a few questions?
I don't know how I can help you, but ask if you must.
Who was this Lubosh who was murdered?
You could see at first glance he was no good. I kept well out of his way.
Do you know what Lubosh was doing the day Neuhof was raided?
I don't think he was home. I didn't see him all day.
Have you noticed anything suspicious recently?
There wasn't sight or sound of him for a long time. And then yesterday, he turned up at the church and even talked to the parish priest. I never saw him do that before. Probably had a bad conscience.
Do you know who Lubosh used to spend time with? Kin or friends?
As far as I know, he had nobody at all in this world.
That's all. Thank you.
My respects to you.
Is there anything suspicious going on in these parts?
Indeed, there is. Just last night, Father Godwin was here, calling fire and brimstone down on old Gertrude, the herb woman. He's not one to make a fuss over some trifle either. And that's not all. Around here, you should hear about what Vashek the groom has been up to at the stables. When the head groom told the lads here, they fell off their seats laughing.
Good day to you. Good day to you. What do you need?
My respects to you.
God be with you.
What the hell?
Coming.
The blessings of our Lord be...
And with you, lad. Take a seat. I'm sorry I can't tell you everything, but maybe we can work something out. But first I'd like to hear something about you, my son. With whom do I have the honor? Where are you from?
I'm from Skalitz.
Oh, I'm sorry. What about your kin?
They're dead.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Here, we'll drink to them. It must have been terrible.
It was terrible. It seemed so pointless.
I've only got
We had no warning. They just appeared and began the slaughter. God knows why. They killed anyone who didn't make it to the shelter of the castle. The parents, the girl, even the Deutsch who was on Sigismund's side. I didn't make it to the castle. I wanted to try and help my parents, but there was nothing I could do. Then I fled to Talmberg with the Cumans on my heels. They almost killed me. They slaughtered people in the surrounding villages. There was a pile of bodies in front of a church in Rovna. Folk who tried to take refuge there, but they...
My poor child. May God grant them eternal rest. And how did you come to get this assignment? I'd have expected Sir Hanish to send that old grouch, Bernard.
He did, but I found a witness and the trail led here to Ujitz, so he sent me here to follow it up.
Ah, well, congratulations. It's nice to see someone using their head to find things out instead of torture. We'll have to drink to that. Now the most important thing. What actually happened at Noyo? The good folks hereabout are saying all kinds of terrible things, but I take most of it with a pinch of salt.
The rumours aren't exaggerated this time, unfortunately. The Neuhoff stud farm was raided by bandits, but they didn't come to pillage or even take the horses. They only wanted to kill. They maimed the horses and slaughtered some people. I'm sure they would have killed more, but the bandits quarrelled among themselves and broke off the attack. And judging by what's left of our Lubosh, they're still settling accounts.
I see it's every bit as bad as people claimed. Dreadful. Well then, here's to those poor souls who had to die so pointlessly and so terribly.
I've told you all about me. Now it's your turn, Father. You don't look much like our parish priest at home. Well, we've had an agreeable chat, but now let's get down to business. So, about this confessional seal. Do you really want more innocent people to die?
Henry, that's not how it works.
My pleasure.
There are matters in which you can't make exceptions because if you do it once, you'll forever be tempted to do it again. If people stop believing in the church because their confessional secrets are betrayed, they won't trust anyone, and that's worse than even the most hideous crime.
Oh, you're just making excuses. The people who say the church is corrupt are right. You don't care about anyone, only your own comfort.
I'm sorry you see it that way. Really sorry. You've no idea how wrong you are.
I always wondered about the things a priest tells his congregation. Where on earth do you get the ideas for your sermons?
Well, Ujits isn't Prague. It's not enough to instruct people. They have to be entertained, too. If I only read from the Bible, I'd soon be preaching to an empty church.
Our priest wasn't exactly a bard. So what do you preach to your flock about?
It has to be something topical. Condemning vices. And, of course, describing them in detail. A tongue-lashing about the two popes goes down well these days. And stories from real life, with a nice moral to them, are popular as well. Especially if they're about fornication and similar scandalous vices.
Can you give me an example?
Well, recently a priest by the name of Jan Hus started preaching in Prague, in the Czech language, and the people liked it. I hear he always has a full house. A journeyman who heard him told me what Hus is preaching, and I like the sound of it. I'm thinking about putting it in my own repertoire.
What's so amazing about it?
The preaching of Master Jan Hus about Mother Church. The lamentable wealth in which the church is drowning has turned to poison, and nearly the whole of Christendom is contaminated. Just like a flock of hungry ravens, they settled on this land to devour every grain of gold and silver. They know no mercy. Their hearts are corrupted by longing for wealth, and they shamelessly profit from everything.
Bottoms up.
You want to baptize a child? Pay. You want to steal and murder? Pay and you will have absolution. What if the devil himself were to pay? Would he ascend to heaven too? With such money gained from the poor, they buy beautiful horses to ride and needless servants to pamper them. They gamble at dice and dress their whores in expensive furs. While Jesus Christ walked barefoot and had no place to lay his head. Look to your consciences, you robbers of the poor, for you are seen by God and his people too. Amen.
Well, this Jan Hus character is quite a rebel.
Oh, the congregation will love it.
I don't doubt it.
Let's drink to that.
Funny. That last bit reminds me of someone.
What do you mean? My situation's completely different. Huth preaches against the prelates and the clerics who are robbing the poor. Look at me. I don't have a pot to piss in. I'm no better off than the folk I preach to. I'm one with them in poverty and suffering and everything that troubles them. I drink with them and curse those stuffed habits in Sasau Monastery.
One beer for me. A tankard of ale for me.
Thanks for the sermon, but I think I've been morally uplifted enough. Oh, it's getting quite late. What are your plans, Father?
What do you suppose? We have a drink, of course.
Ah, that sounds like a good plan.
I knew you wouldn't let me down.
Przyszła bida mora lat, to nie ustoi żadnej chlap. Na kraj padł desej smutek, do dnielo i rano utek, niech już małżeński majstrat, do wczera żylne staje prak. Už sej bojí svatý muži, nechtěl bych bejmě jich muži. Nám je to jedno a tak si dáme jedno a požerem si huby jako poslední den. Budem se bavit a do rána slávit a tak vypal sudy a posaď se mi sem. Tak posaď se sem a vypal je ven. Ukaž kozy jako vozy, zítra je tu soudnej den. Tak nalej mi hned, ať točí se svět. Dneska vůbec nikdo neví, zase zítra Ježíši a není to naposled.
Enough of this!
Bailiff! Come on over here, sit down and have a drink with us.
Don't vex me again, Father. It's 3 hours past dusk, and curfew is long gone.
So what?
So, I'll have you all whipped and put in the stocks, and I'll write a letter to the bishop about you, priest.
Well, nothing to worry about then. Everyone knows the only one around here who can write is me.
Enough! Men, throw them out.
Oh. Oh. You looking for a fight? Henry, back me up.
Hey! Mother of God!
What are you doing?
God save you.
What is it?
Henry!
Hey! Welcome, Henry.
could do with a bite to eat.
I see you know how to wield a sword, Father. I wouldn't have expected that from a man of the cloth.
With a stick. I practice with a stick. A reminder of my youth and days gone by, and it helps keep me in good form.
Do you have any work that needs doing?
My dear lad, I have more worries than I can bear. Another pair of shoulders would ease my burden. I have to deal with a local witch.
A witch?
The herb woman, old Gertrude, that devious hag who will stoop to anything, like all herbalists for that matter.
Oh, don't tell me. The cows are giving blood instead of milk, and babies are being born with 2 heads and a tail.
This is no laughing matter. Gertrude isn't evil, she just has peculiar ideas about what's good for people. A little bird told me she incited some Ujet's women to witchery.
This isn't my kind of work. I could do with a bite to eat.
God be with you.
I've come in the name of Sir Hanush of Lipa. I'm investigating the massacre in Neuhof, and now a murder here as well. Can I ask you a few questions?
Of course, ask away.
That's all. Thank you. I've come in the name of Sir Hanush of Lipa. I'm investigating the massacre in Neuhof, and now a murder here as well. Can I ask you a few questions?
Of course, ask away.
That's all. Thank you. I've come in the name of Sir Hanush of Lipa. I'm investigating the massacre in Neuhof, and now a murder here as well. Can I ask you a few questions?
Of course, ask away.
That's all. Thank you.
Somebody help!
Greetings.
How are you?
Hey, Henry's come to see you.
I could do with a bite to eat.
What a...
Good day.
Who is it? That sounded like...
What is it?
Who is it?
Hey, who's there?
Show yourself! God be with you, Henry.
What are you doing?
God save you, Henry.
What is it? Jesus, look where you're going. Who's that?
Hey!
Well, I never.
Greetings, Henry.
That's it then.
Hey!
How are you?
Greetings.
God save him.
Father, didn't I see you outside practicing swordplay? I wouldn't have expected that from a man of the cloth.
With a stick. I practiced with a stick. A reminder of my youth and days gone by, and it helps keep me in good form.
I've changed my mind about that work. What was it you needed?
I have to deal with a local witch.
A witch?
The herb woman, old Gertrude. That devious hag who will stoop to anything. Like all herbalists, for that matter.
Oh, don't tell me. The cows are giving blood instead of milk, and babies are being born with 2 heads and a tail.
This is no laughing matter. Gertrude isn't evil. She just has peculiar ideas about what's good for people. A little bird told me she incited some Ujet's women to witchery.
What do you want me to do?
I want you to go and see her and find out what she's been up to. I know she lives in fear of the Holy Church, so tell her I sent you. That will make her talk and think twice about encouraging witchcraft. If you learn that she truly did involve folk in some foolishness, find out all you can and deal with it.
Consider it done.
Good. And never fear. I'm a man who always pays his debts. You'll find Gertrude, the old herb woman, in the woods.